All right, so I know this video is a little bit late. I had meant to do it over the 4th of July weekend, or at least post it kind of close to then. But I got really, really sick sort of right at the end of June, and it totally messed up my schedule. Totally messed up by like half a week of my life. So I tried to keep the channel schedule like with stuff going, but I didn't get a chance to post this, which is the June debrief, the June in summary of what I played, potentially what I'm reading, and what I am planning to play in July. And some spoilers there. I've already played some of the stuff I was planning to play in July that I was going to let you know about on July 1st. But as you know, I got sick. So I just want to take a minute to talk about all the games that I played in June. If you watched last month's video in May, you saw some of the stuff that I was planning on playing. This is not everything, it's just kind of the highlights to me. So for example, I did play Legion of Honor like I was planning to, but I didn't get very far. We didn't get very far, and we were never able to reconvene to continue that game, but it was pretty fun and pretty funny. So one of the games I played in June was Washington's Crossing. This is a game that I've wanted to play for quite some time. It's based loosely on Great Campaigns of the American Civil War and Kevin Zucker's Napoleonic 2X operational series, Napoleon at Bay and so forth. And I played the whole campaign actually with a friend of mine, and we were both very excited to play this. It's an operational American Revolution game. You don't see a lot of those. And I'm very mixed on this, and I can see why there was never a follow-up. So even though it's labeled Volume 1 as a series, I can see why we never got more. There are some things about this game that are really, really cool. I really, really like the sort of ideas behind the design, but I think the execution here feels a little underbaked, especially if you're playing the British, which I played. I do feel like some of the tables are a little too biased in favor of the Americans, and it becomes very difficult to be competitive later in the game. There's some cool stuff around fatigue with your army, and like different days are broken up into 4 different turns, and it's the whole sort of Delaware, crossing the Delaware, Trenton campaign. So there's some really cool moments that can happen in this game, but I just felt like the actual play of it was a little unbalanced. I wish that maybe some additional balancing had been done to the game, or potentially some of the modifiers to combat and surprise had been looked at a little closely to see whether or not it unbalanced the campaign. I had a really, really tough time playing as the British, and I felt like I was playing in the way that the game wanted me to play, waiting for Cornwallis to show up, reorganizing my army, attacking the Americans. But once the Americans got across the Delaware, and then they entrenched, and then it was basically impossible to dislodge them. So it's a tough road for the British. It does lead to historical results, but I do feel like it's a bit scripted, and so I think the competitive nature of this game is lacking. However, there are some really cool ideas here, and it's a shame that we won't see a refined version of this series anytime soon, probably. Operational American Revolution is super interesting to me, and I think there's a lot here to really like, and I think if it was just sort of developed a little further, I think you could see a really, really solid system in the modern era, especially now that GCACW is so popular, and OSG is going to be reprinting Campaigns of Napoleon stuff. So I hope this doesn't forever languish. I hope someone with some development chops looks at this and maybe decides to design a new game in the series that's a little bit more fine-tuned. So that was Washington's Crossing. That was one of the first things I played. The other thing I played this month is Rebel Fury. Rebel Fury, I have played every scenario now in this box, and I finally got a chance to sit down with my opponent, who I have played every scenario in Rebel Fury with, and we finally finished it. We did Chancellorsville. That was a really fun time. I was the Union, I believe, if I recall correctly, and I was doing really, really well early. He and I have had some really tense games of this where it's come down to the wire, like the final attack on the final turn. I really, really like this system. I think it's really good. And in Chancellorsville, I unfortunately had some misunderstandings about the victory conditions, and so I made some suboptimal moves and attacks near the end of the game that actually caused me to lose as the Union. But it was a ton of fun anyway. Highly replayable. I would play Chancellorsville again, knowing what I know now. Lots of maneuver. This game, this particular box, I'm excited for the sequel, but in this particular box, the ones that I've had the most fun with were Spotsylvania and Chickamauga. To me, those are the 2 best scenarios in here, and I think endlessly replayable. Chancellorsville, also really good. Fredericksburg, it's a solo training scenario that's like an assault on a fortified position, and once you play it once, you never need to play it again. And the Wilderness in Chattanooga tickled me less. But still, I mean, the game is really good. So finally got a chance to put that to bed, played everything in here, got my money's worth out of this. A great game, a great system. I've seen Mark posting some stuff about Army of the Potomac, which is the second volume with all of the maps laid out together, and I cannot wait to play that game. It's going to be super awesome. As you know from last month, I had been planning to play more Battles of the American Revolution, and so I did. I actually played Monmouth with the same person that I played Washington's Crossing with. So we got a double dose of the American Revolution this month. I had never played Monmouth before. The battle in this game, really, really good, pretty competitive. I was the British. I ended up winning. I was actually going to post a after action report sort of on the anniversary of Monmouth from that game, because I have a whole bunch of photos that I took of it, and I'm still going to do that, but I got sick, and so I wasn't able to do it in time. But this is a great introduction to Tri-Pack 2. He and I want to play this some more. I think we might play Brandywine or Saratoga next, both of which I have played before, but he has not. But I did, Mark Miklos, the designer of this series, actually is going to be at San Diego HISCon, and he and I are talking about doing another a game together there, actually in person this time. And I'm going to see if I can convince him to do Newtown or Oriskany or possibly Pensacola, which is not in this package, but I do own. And so we'll see how that goes, and I might document that for the channel while I'm down there. But I love it every time I play it. Battles of the American Revolution, Tri-Pack number 2, played some Monmouth. I also played a Jest of Robin Hood for the first time. I got this in the GMT sort of beginning of the year tariff sale, we'll call it, because it had just been reprinted. I really love the artwork and the component production on this game, and a 2-player coin that plays in like 90 minutes or less, really appealing to me, especially for people who don't play a lot of war games but could be interested. So I played this with my girlfriend. I had a very favorable first impression. I was the Merry Men, and I ended up winning, even though it was pretty close. So we're going to play this again and keep the same factions. She's bound and determined to beat me as the sheriff. But this is a great game. It is definitely one of those crossover titles, where it's not super hardcore and heavy. Plays really quickly, but has a lot of good replayability to it. And I really like it. I think that the 2-player coin stuff to me is very tactical. The one about Libya that Brian Train did, there's even a 2-player scenario for Liberty or Death. That's the Southern campaign. All of that stuff is really, really like back and forth, really tight, really cutthroat, and I really like that when a game moves quickly and is really, really brutal. So Jest of Robin Hood, that was another one I played. And then finally, I played for the first time 9 Years. This was part of the sort of No Peace Without Spain system grand campaign that I was playing with someone. I played No Peace Without Honor last month. You saw me talk about that. And then that translates right into 9 Years. And the start of this game is based on the end kind of No Peace Without Honor. I have been playing the Allies, the Anglo Allies in all of these games, and he's been playing the French. I held him to a minor victory in No Peace Without Honor. That meant that we had a pretty good start for 9 Years, but unfortunately I was unable to hold him from a major victory as the French in the 9 Years' War. I really liked my first impression of this game. I thought it was really, really good. Compass is actually reprinting this with a mounted map, which is awesome, because I think this game is one of the better ones in the series. However, I do find it questionable because this game was designed to be played on the same map as No Peace Without Spain. Madrid as a space is worth 10 points, even though the Spanish crown was not a major consideration in the 9 Years' War. So I think that kind of throws this game out of balance a little bit. I would house rule that Madrid is worth 3 VPs at most, because it doesn't make sense for it to be worth the same amount for War of Spanish Succession, which was all about the Spanish throne, in a war that had really nothing to do with it. So that is why the French won a major victory, but it was still a good time, and I really want to play it again. I successfully got the Glorious Revolution to go, and I managed to depose and dispose of James II, and put England under Protestant hands, under House of Hanover. So that was a big success for me, and I was actually doing really, really well, but losing Madrid late in the war caused the French to score a big victory. I eliminated Marshal Catinat, which was a big coup for me. The Duke of, it wasn't a Duke, Marlborough wasn't really a factor, but he didn't die, so that was good. So I had him when we played No Peace Without Spain, and we did take the end of this game and translate it into the No Peace Without Spain as part of the grand campaign. You do a little, based on the end of this, you do a little die roll before No Peace Without Spain to see how the War of the Reunions goes off, and it's a very light grand campaign thing. The games weren't originally designed for that, especially because No Peace Without Spain was the first one, even though it comes at the end chronologically. But it is really fun to have that happen. We did start No Peace Without Spain with a vaguely historical outcome. And so it wasn't too much different than the core scenario. In that game, I, as the allies, actually did really, really well. And it came down to the wire, and it was looking, we had to abort it with sort of like a turn to go, but it was looking like I was going to hold the French to either a marginal victory or it was going to be a marginal allied victory. So had a great time playing the Grand Campaign of this system. I want to do it again, especially when I can play them back to back to back to back, because you could probably do that in half a day. The games aren't that long because they play pretty quickly, and they'll give me a chance to play this one again. But if you haven't played 9 Years, it's pretty good, and I want to play it some more and maybe House Rule of the Madrid rules. That brings me to Lace Wars. I wanted to put up some more Lace Wars content, but I have not had a chance to get far enough in the 1690 year to do that. I think from here on out, I'm going to pepper in Lace Wars content as sort of like whole year summaries of how that game is going. I do still have Army of Roussillon set up, and I'm going to kind of continue to play it. I had meant to do that until I got sick, so it's kind of thrown everything off. But while we were talking about the 18th century, the designer of, I believe, No Peace Without Spain, who it was either, I think it was Don Herndon or maybe it was John Fearer, one of the two designers from that system. He posted in Board Game Geek in a thread, I think it might have been John, for a Pragmatic War. And he talked about this book that he had read while he was designing the game, and that he had picked up and read again, and that's this book here. It's called A Day of Battle by Vincent Sheehan. I had never heard of it, and in fact, this book has only, I think, been printed one time, and that was in 1938, and I found a copy on eBay that had a broad art plastic dust jacket on it. So the original dust jacket from 1938 here is still in really good condition, and it shows this image of the Battle of Fontenoy from the War of Austrian Succession, and that's what this book is about. It is a partially historical, partially fictional book about the Battle of Fontenoy and some of the people who were in it and sort of their past and how they wound up at the battle. And so the whole book is about kind of that single battle and sort of its impact on the European political situation. It sounded super interesting. It is, this is going to be a quick read given the margins are so high. There's a really nice map in the front showing the battlefield here. So I'm going to read this one ASAP because he recommended it on BGG, and you can get a copy of this for really cheap. Not all of them are going to be in this condition, but it would be cool to see someone like reprint this. I don't know who has the rights. The publisher in 1938 was a company called Doubleday Duran. So who knows, but you can still find copies out there on eBay and stuff. I got this one from someone who's just selling old books from their personal library, and it's in really good condition. So for being, almost 100 years old. So that's pretty cool. All right. So let's talk about what I'm going to be playing in July. I've already started that. The first thing I played in July so far is BCS Inflection Point. I don't have my copy because mine was held for the map replacement, but my friend got his copy, and we played on those maps that came in there, the blurry MMP logo ones, and we played the Cheer River scenario. We're about halfway through that. I'm playing the Germans. It's a real challenge for the Germans, let me tell you, but the game is a really small footprint and plays really smoothly. There's like one page of scenario specific rules. So as far as like a BCS starter game goes, I think it rivals Ericore in terms of its offering. I think maybe in some cases it's even better than Ericore because it's just the straight system. There's very few special rules. The maps are half-size maps. And while there are a lot of units, you're only talking about 5 to 8 formations on either side, at least for Cheer River. So yeah, I really, really liked that. And I will have probably some discussion about that in next month's video as I talk about what I played, because we are only halfway through and we're planning on finishing it. Other stuff that I have already played this month, Marvel Champions, not a war game, I know, but I really like this game. I think it's really cool. I went to the Gen Con where they debuted it, Fantasy Flight Games did, and I had to have it once I played it. So I have a bunch of content for it that I've never cracked open. So me and my buddy, we decided let's try some of the Avengers specific stuff. So we broke open the Rise of the Red Skull expansion, and we're playing, trying to get through all the scenarios in this box. I'm playing War Machine, and he is playing Black Widow, and that's a pretty good complementary combination. So it's a co-op card game that plays kind of like the Lord of the Rings card game, or I'm trying to think if there's like any other co-op card games, maybe the Arkham Horror card game, similar design paradigm here, but it's Marvel, and I'm a big Marvel fan. As you can see all the comics behind me, this is not my Marvel stuff, it's in another room, but I really like Marvel Champions, so we're trying to get through that. Other games I'm going to play this month. I am going to play Dance of War from Three Crowns Games. I got one of the last copies of this that they had in stock. I just did an unboxing about Three Crowns' new titles, Stalin's Lost Chance and Allenby's Gamble. And so my friend who's never played this system, who's really wanted to, he has Dance of War, so we're going to play that. That should be fun. I'm excited to get back to the North African desert, especially with this system. I think with the chip pull and the smoothness of how this plays, this should be a fun one. This one's designed by Paul Shackleton, and was developed by Stefan Ekstrom, who's also the series designer and owner or proprietor of Three Crowns Games. So looking forward to playing that pretty soon. Speaking of the desert, this is apparently going to be a North African desert month. At the end of the month, I'm going to be playing Dark Sands for the first time. I've not yet played this. I'm playing it with someone who's played it once. This is someone that I played Deadly Woods with, and we played actually that twice this year, and we had a really good time with that both times. So he has wanted to get more into the series, and I have owned Dark Sands for a while, so that gave a perfect excuse to get it on the table. So we're going to be playing that right at the end of July. So I'll probably have a sort of in-progress look at that in next month's debrief. Very excited. I think this series, the quality between games or like the reception between games kind of varies. I know a lot of people don't really like Dark Summer. I know Dark Valley has its fans, but I also know that it has its detractors. Same for this game, and I know Deadly Woods is mostly well received. And then continuing the World War II theme, in July, I'm finally going to be breaking out France 40. My friend that I played Rebel Fury with, he's been reading the rules to this. He's been wanting to play it, so we're going to bust out Sickle Cut. Which is good because I have all of Simonish's games and I would really, really like to get them played. I have played some of them, but not all of them. And in fact, some of the ones I played I don't even own. So I played like Ukraine 43 at a friend's house, and I've played Salerno, and I think that's it, even though I own like Normandy and France and North Africa and Holland. Oh, and I played Holland 44 as well. So looking forward to playing this. I still, I'm kind of mixed on this series. I find that depending on the game, I enjoy it more than others. I didn't really like Holland 44. I know that's everyone's favorite, and it could have had something to do with me playing the Germans, but I just felt like it was really impossible as the Germans to defend in that game and to achieve sort of the historical stopping of the Allies. The Allies just blew me away. 30 Corps, or not 30 Corps, the British paratroopers just absolutely stomped me and took over the city like right away, and I was never able to kick them out, and the game was basically over after turn 3. So I wasn't a big fan of my experience with that. I really, really liked Salerno. I thought that was a really tight, tense game, and really, that's one that I would play a lot, and I can't wait for the expansions that go further into Italy. And I'm really keen to play North Africa, just because I like the desert. So, but this is one that I've had had on my shelf since it came out, the second edition, and I think the Invasion of France in 1940 is quite interesting. So I'm not sure which side I'm going to play. I have historically been playing the Axis and all the World War II games I've been playing lately. Don't know if I want to be the aggressor or if I want to be the Allies for once. But this is coming at the end of July. I'll probably have an after-action report on that as well. So that's July in a nutshell. Would love to know what you're playing right now, what you've got planned. That's June in a nutshell. I would like to know what you've got planned and what you are playing right now, and if you have any comments on these games. Coming up on the channel, I'm not sure what I am going to have. I'm probably going to try and get the Lace Wars video out before too long, and I will have the Monmouth recap, and I'm clipping Pacific War right now. I don't think I'm going to get to it this month, but I have this renewed interest in learning and playing that game. So we'll see how that goes. Anyways, thanks for watching. I will do this again next month if you're liking this, and I should have more sort of impressions about some of this stuff that I'm going to be playing for the first time.